Shalom, first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to all you occupants pushing this truth and truth sincerity. Now today is Sunday, July 9th, 2023, and I'm going to go into our article, but first and foremost, let's get the scriptures, 2 Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac. When Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Jacob and Esau is being played out in 2023. All right? These Christians like to, have you think that Jacob and Esau is done away with and salvation is for everybody. Jacob and Esau are still here, and we're still fighting. All right, it's still a spiritual battle between. First and foremost, we're spiritual and Esau is not. All right, so it's a battle with Esau now, and it's always been a battle. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So we're seeing these end time events signaling the end of Esau Edom, all right, the self-proclaimed white man, the end of wickedness and total confusion, because that's what's playing out right now. Now I want to get into this article from shtfplan.com. Don't look now, but utter chaos is being unleashed all over the earth, right? Let's read this. The relative peace and tranquility that we have been enjoying for several months has been shattered. Well, I really don't think this guy has all his facts covered, because it's been nothing but chaos and uproars of the people in 2023. And you had that major earthquake in Turkey that, had 60,000 people go back to the spirit world, and the numbers are probably higher than that. Continuing on, all of a sudden chaos is erupting all over the globe. Rioters are setting fires in capitals all over France. The IDF just conducted the largest military operation in the West Bank since 2002, excuse me. And the Russians and the Ukrainians are both accusing one another of wanting to attack the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So I'm just going to read that first paragraph. So I'm going to get into some more articles, but even these new alternative news sources know that chaos is on the earth. Now you've got France. Let's get to France right quick. This is from the Tehran Times. Tehran is in Iran. This is from July 5th. French rebellion spills into Belgium and Switzerland. So let's get a map of France. France, Belgium, and Switzerland. Now, brother's been doing countless lessons about what's going on in France. They've been saying animals are leaking out to the streets. People are just going all the way out. So total sedition is going on in France right now, but it's extending into Switzerland, which is right here, which is east of France, and you got Belgium, which is north of France. And it originally started in Marseille with a 17-year-old getting put to death by the police, and it's just all over France right now, all right? And then it extended, like I said, from Switzerland into Belgium now. So let's go back to that article. A French rebellion spills into Belgium, Switzerland. And the scriptures prophesied this. This has been the year. It's been one of the years of uproars of the people. It says, what began as an uprising in a rural class French neighborhood has morphed into a wider outburst of hate and anger towards discriminatory state and police violence. A week of violent unrest in major French cities has been described by witnesses and reporters on the ground as civil war. Thousands of people joined in nationwide demonstrations against the brutal and racial profiling of France's police, and other security forces have been arrested. And there's a lot of Israelites in France as well. All right, and some of them don't even look like typical Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You got Israelites over there in France who look like people from Morocco, different parts of Africa, different parts of the Arab world. There's a lot of Israelites in France alone. There's a lot of what they call so-called immigrants and France, because they've been coming to France since, as far as I can remember, since the late 80s. All right. It says days of unrest and riot in France have broadened to neighboring Switzerland after spilling over into Belgium early this week. The Swiss city of Lausanne was the scene of violent clashes between police and protesters overnight on Saturday. And you had this French president Macron, who basically is he basically shut down the internet because they don't want people to. They're basically blacklisting what's going on in France. They don't want people to see what's really going on in France, because people think about Paris and love and drinking all that wine, Bordeaux wine, but it's really going down in France right now, man. There's nothing peaceful about France right now. It says police reported that officers had been pelted with stones and Molotov cocktails in the city center. Witnesses have also reportedly described seeing bricks thrown and windows smashed. The city is located in the mostly French-speaking western region of Switzerland. Now, I won't be surprised. Let's get a scripture right quick, just to prove a point. Let me get this scripture right quick. 2 Corinthians 2:11. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now, Macron was saying that it's mostly young people doing this, and the young people need to go home. It only takes one crisis actor or one agent in the midst to start this. Just how, like, back during these protests here in America concerning George Floyd, there were just a bunch of bricks just laying around, in these cities, and I've seen them personally, and a bunch of bricks next to buildings. So I wouldn't be surprised if Esau Edom is having crisis actors or agents at the scene causing chaos. So continuing on with this article, it says many of the demonstrators who were chanting justice for Nahel have been teenagers, according to Swiss police. Police added arrests have been made. The police murder of 17-year-old Nahel Merzouk in a Paris suburb set off a week of unrest across France in protest against the discriminatory use of police force against minority groups. So that's what's happening in France, and you see the same thing happen in America, but it dies down after a week. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and even even these Edomites who try to protest against police reform, they'll do it for a week and then it goes over with. You got a lot of people that want to defund the police. Well, they're gonna defund the police, all right, and send those UN peacekeepers. That's an oxymoron. A U.S. peacekeeper in when they send all the troops off to fight in this Third World War. So let's go to 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, and there's going to be major earthquakes to come soon as well, and uproars of the people in the world, France is leading into Belgium and Switzerland, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And you can read about it from the beginning in the scriptures. The scriptures tell you what's going to happen with this man's current rulership, Esau Edom. This beast system is going to be taken down by Yahweh Shai. China's not going to uprise. Russia's not going to rise up. It's going to be Yahweh Shai, the Israelites. And it says it in the scriptures. It says the saints shall take the kingdom. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Well, the Lord is sending you a sign right now. You know DMX had a song, Lord, give me a sign. Well, the signs is right now what's going on, that he's about to make a full end of Esau Edom. All right, you people that go to church right now, I bet there's a lot of people at church right now. They about to get out of that Sunday service and go to Golden Corral and eat a honey glazed ham. All right, with some mac and cheese and some collard greens cooked in some pork. Or are you about to go to that Kingdom Hall Joe's Witnesses right now and do your little Watchtower study on Sunday and hear that public talk? They don't know what's going on. All right, the prophets are giving you these scriptures and breaking them down. Let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 29 before I get to the next article. Deuteronomy 29 and 29. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. All right. And that was speaking to Deuteronomy 29 and 1. And these words live forever. You know, contrary to what they say in the Christian church, that the Old Testament is done away with. Hey, the Old Testament prophesies of World War III. So what are you people talking about? Deuteronomy 29 and 1. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. So the Lord is speaking to the Israelites, and he's going to continue to speak to the Israelites. There's Israelites all over France, and they don't look like John Shaft and Shaq and DMX. So let's get this next article. Which one do I want to go to? There's so much stuff to talk about. You know, let's get this right quick. Israeli protests reignite as Netanyahu pushes new justice bill. Now, this is the state of Israel. You know, there's Israelis, Amalek. All right, those that say they're Jews and that are not. The protests come amid a renewed push for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's hard right coalition to overhaul the justice system. July 8th, 2023. Tel Aviv. The information is from Reuters. Israel's business hub, Tel Aviv, saw the biggest anti-government protests in weeks on Sunday, I believe that was yesterday, against a renewed push by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's hard right coalition to overhaul the justice system. Tens of thousands demonstrated across the country, with the rally in Tel Aviv drawing crowds far larger than recent protests. News channels 12, N12 News, and Channel 13 reported. Nationwide demonstrations began in January when the government announced a plan to overhaul the judiciary and with a legislation package that would roll back some Supreme Court powers and give the coalition decisive sway in picking judges. The protests subsided a little from late March when Netanyahu, under pressure at home and abroad, suspended the plans for compromise talks with opposition parties meant to reach broad agreement over justice reforms. But deeming the talks pointless last month, Netanyahu relaunched his government quest to reign in what it sees as an overreaching, left-leaning, and elitist Supreme Court that he has said the new proposals are more moderate. And they got a Supreme Court in Israel just like they got a Supreme Court here in the United States. These guys, Israel and the United States, are buddies, man. All that money going over there. All right. If you guys are the real Jews, you wouldn't need help from any other countries. The scriptures say when the Israelites go back to that land, it's going to be filled with milk and honey. All right. It's going to be revitalized. It's going to be kainos, refreshed. It's not refreshed over there. They have a judicial system, a Supreme Court. That's not how it's going to come when the Israelites go back into the land. The real Israelites go into the land. So you guys are phonies. All right? And I love seeing you Amalekites crumble. I want to see more protests amongst you Amalekites. I want to see it just as much as these French protests, man. Right? Parliament is expected next week to hold the first of 3 votes on the first new bill, which limits some of the Supreme Court's power to rule against decisions by the government, ministers, and elected officials. So that's basically what's going on. You got some protests. All right, Israeli protests. Let's see if we can find some more on that. And of course, all right, they're in bed with the United States. Biden calls out most extreme Israeli government for fueling tensions with Palestinians. Biden also says that an Israeli-Saudi normalization deal is a long way off, but I don't think they have much problem with Israel, quite frankly. And all these people are going to have a problem with Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. All right. It says Washington, United States President Joe Biden on Sunday slammed members of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right coalition for exacerbating tensions between Israel and the Palestinians, calling it one of the most extreme governments he has seen in decades in politics. Bibi, I think, is trying to work through how we can work through his existing problems in terms of his coalition, Biden told CNN's Fareed Zakaria, adding, it's not all Israel now in the West Bank, all Israel's problem, but they are part of the problem, and particularly those individuals in the cabinet who say we can settle anywhere we want. The Palestinians have no right to be here, etc. He continued, we were talking with them regularly, trying to tamp down what's going on, hopefully. Bibi will continue to move towards moderation and change. Biden further noted the Palestinian Authority has lost its credibility and created a vacuum for extremism. When asked about a potential Netanyahu invitation to the White House, Biden said the Israeli president is going to be coming and we have other contacts, referring to President Isaac Herzog's upcoming visit to Washington at the end of the month. The president also defended his engagement with Saudi Arabia as strengthening Israel's presence in the region, but added that the kingdom and Israel are a long way from normalization agreement. Such a pact would include a defense treaty and with a civilian nuclear program for the United States. So let's get a precept right quick. Jeremiah 48 and 22. Excuse me, I think it's Isaiah 48 and 22 if I'm not mistaken. I believe. Just give me a second right quick. Isaiah 48 and 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. So all these talks about reform and peace treaties and whatnot, it's not going to be any peace to the wicked. Who's the wicked? Esau, Edom. And this falls on the heels of this, what just happened. Israel ends West Bank assault and launches airstrikes on Gaza. Israel has withdrawn its forces from the city of Jenin and exchanged fire with Gaza. Security officials said on Wednesday, which was last week, ending 2 days of intense fighting in one of its largest assaults in the occupied West Bank in years. Yeah, it was really going down over there last week. So there's continual uproars of people, even in the state of Israel, where those people say that they're real Jews of the Bible and are not. There's all types of chaos going on. So you clearly know that these guys are frauds. Israeli security officials said its military operation was complete and its troops had finished withdrawing from the Jenin area of the occupied West Bank in the early hours of Wednesday morning, according to local news reports. 12 Palestinians and an Israeli soldier were killed in the operation, and thousands reportedly fled the fighting, according to the Associated Press. Israeli officials declared the raid a success and said its troops have confiscated stashes of money, weapons, ammunition, and materials to make bombs, as well as neutralizing numerous facilities used to make explosives. As troops were leaving, the Israeli Defense Forces said militants in the Gaza Strip fired 5 rockets towards Israel, all of which were intercepted. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the launches and no injuries were immediately reported, though local media report shrapnel from an Iron Dome interceptor missile damaged a home. So more uproars of the people, more conflicts over land that doesn't belong to either one of you heathens. All right, we're seeing the end of Esau. Let's get Matthew 12. Just a little quick lesson. You know, this what's going on. Most of our people, you know, they watching Summer League. I watched it, man. You know, but that's not important. You know, me and the brother watched it at the camp. We had a couple drinks. We watched Victor Wembanyama in his NBA debut at the Summer League. And after that, we had more spiritual conversations, man. Like we can, you know, there's nothing wrong with watching sports or going to a sporting event, but that's not That's not what we look forward to. We look forward to see this man go down. That's more exciting. Watching this man Esau Edom starting with Amalek go down is more exciting. That's why, me personally, I like getting hyped up for these type of lessons on prophecy, man. Matthew 12 and 26. Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahweh knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Now, when you read the scriptures and you link it up with history, which makes the scriptures faithful and true, you'll see that when Esau Edom started with Philip and then Alexander and the four generals, there was all types of division going on. And the same thing is happening with this current beast system right now. There's all types of confusion. Esau, starting with these elites, man, they're losing it, man. All right, they're probably cussing each other out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you know, you got one set of elites. We should have pushed that MOTB 7 years ago. Or we should have did this. Now, you know, starting with the elites, these Edomites are scrambling right now, man. All right, Revelation 11:11, and after 3 days and a half, that represents those 350 years. You know, you could say 1619 to 1969 or 1620 to 1970. That was when the Lord totally had his back turned against us for our transgressions and sins. And that's why a lot of people don't understand why we went into slavery, man. You can read Lamentations, the first chapter. All right, for brothers and sisters, read Lamentations, the first chapter. Read the first 10 verses, and you'll get a clear glimpse of why we went into slavery here in America and around the world. So after that period where the Lord turned his back on us, no prayers was going up. All right, then the Lord put the spirit on men like Rabbi Abba Bivens, High Priest Yaquab, High Priest Ariyah. All right, our apostles and elders. All right, the spirit of life, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the breath, mentions in Genesis 2 and 7, from the Most High entered into them. That's why you see these street corners. You see these men, primarily Great Millstone, because ISUPK, they're not out there giving you prophecy, man. They want to fight people, and they're disrespecting the Lord's name by calling the Most High Nigger. I don't even want to say it, man, but I just had to say it because you had the elder Monatizat do that last lesson. They're not even prophesying. They're not even telling you about these uproars of the people in France. They're probably at a KFC buffet right now, stuffing their face. All right? So for the apostles and elders, there's men on the street corners. That's why you got Vocab Malone losing his mind, losing sleep. Because this scripture is being fulfilled right now. These different camps, Great Millstone camps. Then you got other brothers who don't have Great Millstone and who preach the same doctrine, who believe the same doctrine as we do. So after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Starting with the elites, right? Because they got to be calculated with their moves and how they approach the prophets, man. Because they know when they start to put their hands on the prophets, man, the Most High is going to move, like it mentions in Isaiah 59 and 19. So that's basically it on that. You can read this article for yourself. Don't look now, but utter chaos is being unleashed all over the world, and it's going to continue to amplify. Let me get one more scripture. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16. Like I said, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's cool to go. You know, get a little drink. You know, maybe go to a sporting event. You know, go a little date or whatever. But hey, we're in the midst of we're in between enemy lines, man. You can't exactly read the scriptures 24 hours a day, but then, hey, this truth is our first priority, man. You know, prophesying and chanting down this man's system, right? That's our main job. That's our main profession. This is the highest profession to have. Forget an athlete. It's just entertainment. This is not entertainment. This is life or death. 2 Ezra 16, and we want to be found to be living at the end, even if we got to be so-called. Even if we got to be martyrs, we're still living, because the scriptures say that we will rise with Yahweh Shai when he comes back, according to what 1 Thessalonians the 4th chapter. So 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 36. Behold the word of the Lord. Receive it. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans need to receive this word. Now, we was at camp yesterday, and we had some Latinos that was doing construction across the street laugh at us and mock at us. You know, it's time. It's the fun and games and the cheesing is over with for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. When they send these UN peacekeeping troops over here that don't speak no English, all right, no English, all right, and they're separating from your families, and they're ravishing your women. Hell, they might even try to ravish you, because these UN troops, they go both ways, which is off. But hey, you got to receive it now, right? The famine of the word is coming. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Jehovah and Jesus and your sun gods and your Buddhism and your Church of Scientology gods is not going to save you in that day, man. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and aren't slack. These plagues aren't slack. They keep on moving. Like, 2023 has been a year of protests, man. You got protests in Israel right now over justice reform. And you got those protests in France going from Switzerland to Belgium. So they're not slack. That's where a lot of our people, they like to ignore what's going on. They like to use entertainment as a distraction. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringing forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains can pass her womb. Which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So when a baby's being pushed out, man, that baby's not going back into the womb, man. Just like these prophecies, these prophecies and these plagues, man, they're not going to be held any longer, man. The Most High has got a certain period of time to amplify these plagues. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn. The world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word. Who's the Lord's people? The Israelites. You're supposed to hear these words. Your pastor at the Iglesia or the Kingdom Hall Jehovah's Witnesses with that smooth baby face look doesn't have the answers. They're just going to keep telling you that 2024 is going to be your year, and so on and so on. A lot of people are homeless and making decisions between their rent and getting food. It's really tough out here for people, man. You see more homeless people. You see more homeless black women. All right? So where's all that pride going with you people, man? But people are still proud. People are homeless and prideful, man. All right? Oh, my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle. And in those days, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Because, hey, we're going to be homeless out here. All right? Especially when they implement that MOTB. Yeah, we're going to be going from house to house or some type of shelter. Hell, we might be in a cave in that day. All right? So this was really going on. Like I said, you can check this out. You got these assaults and over the Gaza Strip just ended, but then you got, you know, protests, you know, all over the world basically, man. So, Lord, one that was edifying. Until the next time, I want to say shalom. We just got to continue to watch and pray and have the faith. Shalom.